Ellie fights to break free from her sister Mia's shadow. Will betrayal crush her or ignite her rise? A Sister's Shadow, a story of struggle and redemption, the weight of favoritism. The house on Maple Street was picture perfect from the outside. White picket fence, neatly trimmed hedges, and a cherry red mailbox that screamed suburban bliss. But inside, for Ellie Harper, it was a battlefield where she was always outgunned, outmaneuvered, and overlooked. At 24, she was still living in the shadow of her younger sister, Mia, the golden child who could do no wrong. Ellie sat at the kitchen table, her laptop open to a half-finished job application. The clatter of dishes in the sink and her mother's humming filled the air, but it was Mia's laughter from the living room that grated on her nerves. Mia, 2 years younger, was sprawled on the couch, scrolling through her phone, probably texting her latest fling or posting another selfie that would rack up hundreds of likes. Ellie glanced at her sister, her chestnut curls bouncing as she giggled, and felt a familiar knot tighten in her chest. "Ellie, honey, can you help with the dishes?" Her mother Susan called out, not looking up from the sink. Ellie bit her lip. She'd been up since 6, cleaning the house and running errands, while Mia had slept until noon. "Sure, Mom," she said, her voice flat. She closed her laptop and shuffled to the sink, her sneakers scuffing the linoleum floor. From the living room, Mia piped up, "Oh, Mom, can you make me that avocado toast thing? I'm starving." Susan's face lit up. "Of course, sweetheart. You need to eat something healthy before your dance rehearsal." Ellie's hands froze in the soapy water. "Dance rehearsal?" she muttered. She hasn't gone to dance in months. Susan didn't hear her, already bustling to the fridge to fetch Mia's favorite ingredients. Ellie scrubbed a plate harder than necessary, the sponge squeaking against the ceramic. This was how it always went. Mia asked, Mia got. Ellie worked, Ellie waited. It hadn't always been this way. When they were kids, Ellie and Mia had been inseparable, building forts in the backyard and sharing secrets under the covers. But as they grew, their parents' attention shifted. Mia, with her dimpled smile and effortless charm, became the star. She was the one who got the new bike for Christmas, while Ellie got hand-me-downs. She was the one who got private dance lessons, while Ellie was told to make do with school art classes. And when Mia started dating, their parents fawned over her boyfriends, while Ellie's relationships were barely acknowledged. The favoritism wasn't subtle. It was a sledgehammer, smashing Ellie's self-esteem with every passing year. And Mia, sensing her power, wielded it like a weapon. She'd take Ellie's clothes without asking, eat the last slice of pizza Ellie had saved, and once, when they were teens, she'd borrowed Ellie's science project and passed it off as her own, winning first place at the fair. Ellie had cried herself to sleep that night, her parents' praise for Mia echoing in her ears. But the worst betrayal came 2 years ago, when Mia stole Ethan. Ethan had been Ellie's first real love. They'd met in college, bonding over late-night study sessions and a shared love of indie music. He was kind, with a lopsided grin that made Ellie's heart skip. For the first time, she felt seen. They'd been together for a year when Mia came home for summer break. Within weeks, Mia had worked her magic. She'd flirt with Ethan at family dinners, laugh too loudly at his jokes, and accidentally brush against him when passing by. Ellie saw it happening but felt powerless to stop it. By the end of the summer, Ethan was distant, and one night, he confessed he'd fallen for Mia. "I'm so sorry, Ellie," he'd said, unable to meet her eyes. "It just happened." Mia had sobbed crocodile tears when Ellie confronted her, claiming she couldn't help it and that Ethan had pursued her. Their parents took Mia's side, telling Ellie to stop making a fuss and be happy for your sister. Ellie had packed her things and moved into a cramped apartment across town, but she couldn't afford the rent on her barista salary and was forced to move back home 6 months ago. Now she was stuck, sleeping in her childhood bedroom, while Mia flitted through life like a butterfly, untouchable. Tonight, though, something snapped. It was a Friday, and the Harper family was gathered for dinner. Susan had made lasagna, Mia's favorite, and the table was set with the good china, another nod to Mia's whims. Ellie pushed her food around her plate, her appetite gone. Her father, Tom, was telling a story about his day at the accounting firm, but Ellie barely listened. Her eyes were on Mia, who was texting under the table, her lips curled in a smug smile. "So, Ellie," Tom said, finally turning to her, "how's the job hunt going?" Ellie straightened, surprised to be addressed. "It's okay. I applied to a few marketing firms, but—" "Oh, marketing," Mia cut in, tossing her hair. "That's so cool. I was thinking about getting into that. I bet I'd be great at it. I've got like a natural vibe for branding." Ellie's fork clattered against her plate. "You've never even taken a marketing class," she said, her voice low but sharp. Mia blinked, feigning innocence. "Wow, Ellie, no need to get defensive. I'm just saying, it sounds fun." Susan frowned. "Ellie, don't be rude to your sister. She's just showing interest." "Rude?" Ellie's voice rose, trembling. "She's not interested. She always does this. She takes everything I care about and makes it hers." The table went silent. Tom cleared his throat, uncomfortable. Susan's lips pursed, and Mia's eyes widened, but there was a glint in them, like she was enjoying the drama. "Ellie, that's enough," Susan said firmly. "You're being dramatic." "Dramatic?" Ellie laughed, a bitter sound. "You think I'm dramatic? I've spent my whole life watching you put her on a pedestal while I'm left scraping for scraps. She takes my clothes, my food, my boyfriend, and you never say a word." Mia gasped, clutching her chest. "That's not fair. I never meant to hurt you, Ellie. You're making me sound like a monster." "You're not a monster," Ellie snapped. "You're just spoiled. And you know it." "Girls, stop it," Tom barked, slamming his hand on the table. "This is a family dinner, not a soap opera." But Ellie was done holding back. Years of resentment poured out, her voice shaking with rage and pain. "You don't get it, Dad. You and Mom let her get away with everything. You never call her out, never make her face consequences. And I'm the one who pays for it, every single time." Susan stood, her face flushed. "Ellie Harper, you will not speak to us that way. Go to your room." "I'm not a child," Ellie shouted, shoving her chair back. "I'm 24, and I'm still being treated like I don't matter. I'm done with this." She stormed out of the dining room, her heart pounding. Upstairs, she slammed her bedroom door and sank onto the bed, tears burning her eyes. The walls were still plastered with posters from her teenage years, a cruel reminder of how little her life had progressed. She heard muffled voices downstairs, Mia's fake sobs, her parents' soothing tones. They were comforting her, as always. Ellie buried her face in her pillow, her sobs muffled. She felt like she was drowning, trapped in a house where she was invisible. But beneath the pain, a spark of resolve flickered. She She couldn't keep living like this. She wouldn't. The next morning, Ellie woke with a plan. She'd been saving every penny from her barista job, squirreling it away in a secret account. It wasn't much, but it was enough to get her out. She spent the day scouring apartment listings, her fingers trembling as she typed. By evening, she'd found a tiny studio in a less than glamorous part of town. The rent was steep, but she'd make it work. She had to. When she told her parents she was moving out, they were stunned. "Ellie, honey, you don't have to do this," Susan said, her eyes wide. "We can work things out." "No, Mom," Ellie said, her voice steady. "I've tried. I can't stay here anymore." Tom frowned. "Is this about last night? You know Mia didn't mean to upset you." Ellie's jaw tightened. "It's not just last night. It's my whole life. I'm done being the runner-up in my own family." Mia, lounging on the couch, rolled her eyes. "God, Ellie, you're so dramatic. If you want to leave, just go. No one's stopping you." For once, Ellie didn't take the bait. She looked at Mia, really looked at her, and saw the insecurity beneath the bravado. Mia thrived on attention, on being the favorite. Ellie's departure would shake that foundation, and deep down, Mia knew it. "I'm not doing this for you," Ellie said quietly. "I'm doing it for me." She moved out the following week, her belongings packed into a few cardboard boxes. The studio was cramped, with peeling paint and a leaky faucet, but it was hers. For the first time, Ellie felt a glimmer of hope. She threw herself into her job search, landing an entry-level marketing gig at a small firm. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. But Mia wasn't done with her. Part 2, the sabotage. Ellie's new life was fragile, like a house of cards in a windstorm. Her job at the marketing firm, Brightwave, was demanding but rewarding. She spent her days crafting social media campaigns and brainstorming ad copy. Her nights learning the ropes of graphic design on YouTube. For the first time, she felt like she was building something of her own. But Mia had a knack for sniffing out Ellie's happiness and stomping on it. It started small. Mia would text Ellie late at night, asking for favors. Could she borrow money? Could Ellie pick her up from a party? Ellie, still conditioned to play the dutiful sister, complied at first. But when she started saying no, Mia's requests turned into demands. One evening, Ellie was working late on a campaign pitch when her phone buzzed. It was Mia, her voice slurred from too many cocktails. "Ellie, I need you to come get me," Mia whined. "I'm at this club downtown, and my ride bailed." Ellie sighed, rubbing her temples. "Mia, I'm working. Call an Uber." "An Uber?" Mia scoffed. "You're seriously going to leave me stranded?" "Wow, some sister you are." The guilt trip worked, as it always did. Ellie grabbed her keys and drove across town, her pitch unfinished. When she pulled up to the club, Mia was leaning against a lamppost, flirting with a guy in a leather jacket. She sauntered over, smirking. "Thanks, sis," she said, sliding into the passenger seat. "You're a lifesaver." Ellie gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. "This is the last time, Mia. I mean it." Mia just laughed, cranking up the radio. But it wasn't the last time. Mia's intrusions grew bolder. She'd show up at Ellie's apartment unannounced, rifling through her closet or eating her groceries. Once, she borrowed Ellie's laptop and accidentally deleted a presentation Ellie had spent weeks preparing. When Ellie confronted her, Mia shrugged. "Chill, it's just a file," she said. "Make another one." Ellie's patience was fraying, but the real blow came at work. Brightwave was pitching a major client, a local brewery looking to rebrand. Ellie had been tasked with leading the social media strategy, her first big break. She poured her heart into it, staying up late to perfect every detail. The night before the pitch, she was putting the final touches on her slides when her phone rang. It was her boss, Rachel. "Ellie, we need to talk," Rachel said, her tone clipped. "I just got an email from someone claiming you stole their work for the brewery pitch." Ellie's stomach dropped. "What? That's impossible. I created everything myself." The email included screenshots of a nearly identical campaign, Rachel said. "It's from someone named Mia Harper. Is she related to you?" Ellie's blood ran cold. She hung up, her hands shaking, and opened her email. There it was, a message from Mia's account, with mock-ups that mirrored Ellie's work, time-stamped weeks earlier. Mia had somehow gotten hold of Ellie's files and passed them off as her own, then accused Ellie of plagiarism. Ellie drove to her parents' house, her vision blurred with tears. She found Mia in the living room, painting her nails like nothing had happened. "Why?" Ellie demanded, her voice breaking. "Why would you do this to me?" Mia looked up, her expression cool. "You think you're so special now, with your little job and your little apartment. I just reminded you who's really in charge." Ellie's fists clenched. "You could ruin my career, Mia. Do you even care?" Mia smirked. "Maybe you should have thought of that before you started acting like you're better than me." Ellie left, her heart shattered. She spent the night trying to prove her innocence, digging through old drafts and email chains. By morning, she had enough evidence to convince Rachel the work was hers. But the damage was done. The brewery went with another firm, and Ellie's reputation at Brightwave took a hit. Back at her apartment, Ellie sat on the floor, surrounded by crumpled tissues. She felt like she was back at square one, invisible and defeated. But as she stared at the walls of her tiny studio, something shifted. She was done playing the victim. Mia had pushed her too far, and this time, Ellie was going to fight back. That's all for part 1 of Ellie's emotional journey. Will she break free from Mia's shadow, or will betrayal tear her apart? Don't miss the dramatic conclusion in part 2. Subscribe now and hit the bell so you won't miss a second of this heartfelt story.